I want to talk about probably my favorite topic in reality transurfing and honestly in metaphysics, because to be honest with you, the idea of it, even though as I'm going to describe it, it may seem a bit like ominous. I promise I'm not telling or putting this information online in this freaking video in order to scare a bunch of people, because to be honest with you, I think that the more people who understand this, like people a lot smarter than me who understand this concept, um we can change the world. We really can, just by understanding how thoughts operate and how these things control us. So I want to talk about pendulums, and I want to talk about them in the regards to how Vadim Zeland describes them in his book Reality Transurfing, which is energetic thought structures that are formed from groups of people who are thinking and feeling similarly. So you can see a destructive pendulum in a angry mob. The riot in January 6th is a perfect example of a destructive pendulum. You can see destructive pendulums all over the place. Pendulums are also a little bit more discreet. Every business, every political organization, every religious institution, every school, every bank, basically all of the things that we created in order to essentially serve us and make our society better, they're all essentially pendulums. Now, when I say that, it's like, okay, they're combined thought forms that were formed from groups of people thinking and feeling similarly. All right, that makes sense, right? We put all the information about what it is this organization is, and we say, oh yes, the people that make up the business, yeah. We say all of this good stuff, right? And then we wonder why at a certain time it's like you start to hear different things. It's not necessarily that, oh, the people make up the business, because the people sometimes have to form some type of a union or some other crazy shit in order to just get the business to recognize them as people, get the business to recognize them as souls. And why is that? Why is it? I'm sure that a lot of times when these businesses are formed, yeah, the initial founders may be thinking about, yeah, the money that they're going to make, sure, right? But I'm hard pressed to think that everybody just wants to build a company that's going to treat people like shit, whether it's their employees or whether it's the other people that they're exploiting or whatever shady tactics or whatever the case may be. And I'm not saying I'm against capitalism, although I understand how some of this may come off, but that's not it at all. That's not it at all. The point that I'm trying to make is that these thought structures, they take energy from souls. They take energy from me and you. They take energy from us all. And I mean, we're so attached to them. It's like a symbiotic relationship. And like, you don't even see or necessarily realize that your energy is getting drained every day by these thought structures. And that's like the big thing. Like, you don't realize that your energy is being drained by these things, but your energy is. And then you wonder why you don't have the drive, you don't have what it takes to go out there and do what you really, really want to do. It's because your energy is getting drained by all of these pendulums that you're attached to. And I mean, these pendulums, you think about them in terms of something tangible like a business, but it doesn't have to be that. It could be certain friend groups. It could be certain types of drama that you're attached to, that you gravitate towards. What certain Whenever whatever gossip is going around, is that something that like sets you on fire? Is that something that you have to hear about? You got to know what's going on. Got to be in everybody's business. Got to know what's going on, what's going on with what celebrity, this and that. All of that shit is a pendulum. Now, like I said, these things take energy from souls, but that's not all, because after a certain point, they gain enough energy to become conscious to a certain extent, and conscious to the point where they exert their will on their adherents. Now, we dictate this because we set rules for these pendulums, and we say that if you're going to be a soul that's affiliated with this particular entity, you have to abide by these rules. If you're going to be partake in this social circle within this company, then you have to do this. You have to act this way. You have to dress this way. You need to be here. You need to do this. You need to speak this way. You can't think outside of this. And a lot of times you step into an organization and it feels like you're stepping into a cult because of all of the people who've bought into the structure of the pendulum. Or you tap into a certain online forum, and you can see how the groupthink has just taken over. So this pattern, it plays itself out at all levels, but it's the same phenomena that happens, and it happens because of who we are and because of how powerful our thoughts are, because of the fact that our thoughts are things. Our individual thoughts are things. That's why these collective thought forms are so freaking powerful. That's why when they gain enough energy, they become conscious, because our thoughts are creative. Our thoughts give life to reality. Our thoughts create reality. And collectively, we're creating a shared reality. So when we create these entities and we bestow in them all of this power supposedly to help us, and then we see them exploit us, we see them become wicked without any regard for souls, you have to understand that these thought forms only concern is for their pendulums. They're swinging from pole to pole. Their energetic thought structure, they only care about maintaining their swing. So Walmart only cares about Walmart's bottom line and maintaining Walmart. Samsung only cares about Samsung. The USA only cares about maintaining the USA. Whatever religion you call yourself a part of, the adherent at the highest levels of your religion, who uphold the structure, the foundation of your religion, act as conduits for that thought structure, because that thought structure's only concern is maintaining its swing. See, you have to understand that this pattern is playing itself out in all levels of society. And I'm not saying that this is necessarily a bad thing, because at the beginning of this video, I did say I believe that this is the way that we change our world. But you have to understand that this is what is happening. So when you see somebody who's been propped up by a pendulum, who has been placed in front of you as a favorite, for one, understand that if they're a favorite of a pendulum, the pendulum is always swinging. And just as they're a favorite today, they could be most hated tomorrow, because the pendulum has no regard for any individual soul, whether you are for or against its cause. If you resonate at its frequency, it gets your energy. Now, if you further its cause, then it'll prop you up and you'll get all of the benefits of it. You may get a nice benefit package from a company, especially a company that's exploiting people and making tons of money doing it. If you can be the face for them, It can look real good for you. You see the favorites in certain religious institutions. They build super churches. They have thousands of followers, both in person and online. They make so much money. And now there's documentaries about how corrupt and how evil they are and how inconsistent their message is. And if you have at all studied any of the law of one, or if you are at all like looking inwards towards yourself, then you know that there's certain things about these religious institutions that just don't resonate with you. But then you ask yourself, there has to be a reason why all of this stuff is still around, and this is it. These thought structures have gained enough energy. They are now conscious, and they have conduits who perform their will, and they're getting benefits. They're getting benefits from it. These people are set up nicely. These favorites are set up nicely. But at any given moment, it can all come crumbling down. At any given moment, it can all come crumbling down for them. Look, I'm going to do a part 2 to this video. My phone is about to die. And I really love the vibe out here. I got the train going. I got planes coming by. I hope it's not too loud on the mic here. But it's a little cold out here in the desert, and I'm loving it. I'm here for it. This is my favorite thing to do. To just be here talking to you about this, sharing this information, talking about these pendulums, talking about these thought forms, and indirectly talking about how powerful all of us are, and indirectly implanting these ideas about what it is that you could do. Just a friend or two. Look, we'll do a part 2. I love you. I want to see the fullest expression of you. This is a spark.